Hello, EDLT 560 adventurers. This is your instructor, Susie Bussman, and yes, I am back from the Quality Matters Conference in Baltimore, and it was fantastic. And you're going to get started on Quality Matters in Adventure 4, and we are in week 1. And we'll go and take a look at the two sides of, or two parts of this week's assignments. And with that, also your fun group activity is continuing, so I just want to point that out, but we have a much later due date on that. So navigating to modules, let's see what's in store for this adventure. And here we are, navigating roadblocks. That's adventure 4. You will be involved in the great debate. And we will go take a look at what that entails because it's 3 weeks of debating. And you also have your QM review. So the Great Debates has due dates, 2 of them. There's the Great Debate Part 1. And you can see you have readings to do, and they are focused on the roadblocks in online learning communities. We love online learning communities, but there are challenges, as you well know from your own experience. We have online resources and text resources to read in preparation for your posting to the discussion board. And we have a post that should be 300 to 500 words, contain at least one reference to the readings, preferably more, using APA format, and it should be timely. And in your post, you're going to be identifying and elaborating on the problematic issues related to online learning communities, which, as I've mentioned, is a real consideration and something we deal with as learners, and you will be dealing with as instructors. And I'm sure you will be sharing some of your experiences in terms of the downside of learning community online. So do the readings first. Take notes as you read. My recommendations, not required, but when you actually have to go and post your reflection of 300 to 500 words, that will help out a bunch. And so this is going to take place over the next 2 weeks in terms of part 1 of the debate. Next week will be part 2 of the debate, where you argue back against the original posting that you did and your classmates did, and then we will have a connect session where we will do our summary of the great debate. So that's what happens over the next 3 weeks in this part of our adventure. Coming back to our modules, then we have a QM rubric review. And in the QM rubric review, click here. And this week, you will be actually getting familiar with the rubric. And I like to focus your attention on the annotations associated with the rubric. And here's the annotated version of the Quality Matters rubric. I must point out we're using what they now call version 4, the 2011-2013, maybe it'll load pretty quickly here, version of the rubric, and a new version of the newest version of the rubric is actually one that came out just a month ago, or 2 months ago, August 1st, what they're now calling the 5th version of the Quality Matters rubric. But we're going to be happy with this version of the rubric. It's about 95% the same, and this is where I want to direct your attention. If this is the standard that a course is expected to meet, then this is, well, what does that look like? What does that mean? Navigation instructions make the organization of the course easy to understand. And these are just some recommendations. There are many ways to meet the standards. 3-point standards are considered your essential standards. 2-point standards are important, and 1-point standards are nice to have. And so I just want to point that out in case you notice that the point views point values are different. But that's one of the things you're going to be doing. And you might also take a look at this template because you'll be using it for one of your assignments further on down the road. And there are checklist versions of the rubric. So go and look at all these materials. There's certainly no lack of Quality Matters materials because we use it extensively in this program, the Graduate Certificate Program, and all the professional development that we do. So there is what you'll be starting out with this week, is looking at the Quality Matters materials, studying them a little bit. They do take some brain power. And then this is when you post to the discussion after completing your rubric review part 2. And it does take time to do a rubric review. You post your reviews to this discussion board and you respond to at least 3 other class members. Once again, my recommendation is be thinking strategically. If you're spending time this week learning about and studying the QM rubric, getting your mind wrapped around it, start taking some notes in preparation for when you actually have to apply your understanding of what you have studied or become familiar with this week, and this is next week. So this is 2 parts. So you actually sort of have 3 things going on. You have your debates, part 1. You have the QM rubric, part 1. And yes, the adventure, the collaborative fun group activity 1 is also going on. I do want to point out that it's recommended that you have a study group or a study buddy, and that is an extra credit activity. And in the extra credit activity, you are asked to email the instructor, and then I note it in the grade book. So those of you who have emailed me, I've already updated the grade book, and I'm not going to go look at the grade book because I don't want you looking at everybody else's grades, and because they're your grades. All right, so with that, this recording is now complete, and hopefully it helped you better understand what Adventure 4 Week 1 entails. Ever upward and onward. Keep up the great work.